Red Sox thinking more than just a couple runs here. 2 men on, 1 man out. They're talking about it at the mound. The MetLife blimp Snoopy 2 is cruising the skies of Oakland, providing the aerial coverage of today's game. The blimp typically cruises at a speed of 35 miles per hour. Hey, just like a knuckleball. And at an altitude of 1,200 feet. Look to the skies for the MetLife blimp in a town near you. We are pleased to have them with us here today. So here's Todd Walker. Now he gave away 2 runs on that error. Got a chance to at least get some of them back, but that's a fair ball to first and an out. Hatterberg takes care of it, so Walker's gone on 1 pitch and is now 0 for 2 in this game. Damon moves to third and Garcia Parra to second, and now Ramirez comes up in a spot that he seemed to be coming up in forever last night. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. ESPN's coverage of Game 2 of this American League Division Series. The Red Sox and the Athletics were on ESPN 2 today. The Red Sox, who fell last night in extra innings, just a crushing defeat. Trying to rebound today, but they're behind 5-1 right now. Runners at second and third, 2 down. The big RBI man Ramirez at the plate. In the air to left center. On the move is Guillen. He reaches out and makes the catch.
Well, we talked about their outfield having some speed, and you see it there with Guillen. He also has a good arm.
Just the one for the Red Sox. Hatterberg led off the second inning for the Red Sox. And it was a very deceiving for the Athletics. I keep saying the Red Sox.
Yeah, I know. You were trying to get them 5 runs last inning.
It's the Red Sox and the Athletics. Yeah, all right. I was a little fixated on the Red Sox not getting the 5 runs they needed there, Joe. In fact, I mean, even your assessment, they only needed to get 1 more there.
They needed 1 more there.
Well, they didn't get it.
Yeah, that would have made it very. That run was very important.
And they had a runner at second, had 1 out and a run in. And the big hitter's up. Manny Ramirez, although he hit that ball pretty well, that ball traveled well, that's for sure. It carried it well out into left center field, and Guillen almost did not catch up to it, but Manny has not had a hit yet to drive in any runs. He had a bases loaded at bat last night, another 2 on at bat where they got him out. So that's 7 runners. He's stranded now and has not driven in 1 yet. Hatterberg sounded like he broke his bat on that one. A long run, and Kepler gets there. 1 away. Tonight, Brock Berlin, Kellen Winslow Jr. and the Miami Hurricanes will look to continue their quest for a 3rd straight appearance in the national championship game. They'll be taking on the West Virginia Mountaineers in the Orange Bowl. College football Thursday on ESPN. That's tonight at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. College football.
Wood Nelly.
Is that, were you doing a Keith Jackson impression?
No,
there?
no. I was just saying, whoa, Nelly.
So, but you sort of associate that with Keith Jackson and college football, don't you?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you weren't aware of that. But
No.
That was, you do it well, though. It sounds very authentic. Jose Guillen at the plate. Guillen drew a walk in the second inning, and with that, the Athletics started a 5-run rally. That ball inside. 2 balls and a strike. Again, a very dismal inning for Wakefield. 2 walks, a hit batsman, a pass ball. The Athletics got 5 runs on only 2 hits. No swing on that one, says Wally Bell, the first base umpire. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. We were in Atlanta last night, and that was an exciting game.
Very exciting.
And Marcus Giles looked like the Braves had a real bad break in the game they needed to win. Giles couldn't play. Well, Mark DeRosa played, and he got the winning hit. He was the hero.
They got 3 RBIs from the second base spot. Giles wasn't playing. He pinch hit, got a hit, and DeRosa. Before the game yesterday, Bobby Cox told me, he says, one thing DeRosa can do is hit. And that's what he said.
Whoa, Nelly. All right. So here is Hernandez. Guillen has walked twice now. And as we told you, the first one precipitated a big inning for the Athletics. Hernandez now lifts a high fly ball left center. Ramirez started over and has to go back. Finally, Johnny Damon comes over and takes charge, tagging up Guillen, and he is into second base.
Very wise and heads-up play there by Guillen, because he could see the sun came back out when that ball went in the air. And they were having trouble with it out in the outfield, so he goes back, tags up, and Damon tries to throw a strike to second base, but it wouldn't have been in time anyway. Good job there by Guillen.
Well, good job in every respect except the slide.
Well,
I mean, did you see that slide? That's not the way. That's not the way they taught him to do it, is it?
I'm sure they didn't teach him that way, but he got the job done.
I mean, what did you think he was going to do?
Well, they're going to see if he tagged up too soon. But they tagged him at second base. They said no. They were trying to see if he left first base too soon, and he did not. And you want to see the slide.
Yeah.
Man, I guess you call it a slide.
Wow, that looked like something you'd see on the like the Discovery Channel, you know, like one of those wildlife shows. I mean, what was he doing? I don't. It looked like he was trying to break up a double play or something. What was he thinking on that one? I hope he didn't hurt himself.
Well, I'm going to give him credit for the, making the move.
All right.
We won't give him any style points for it.
It was a great move, and I'm glad he didn't seriously injure himself. Jermaine Dye grounds out to Garcia-Parra. Now to the fourth inning. Ortiz coming up, 5-1, Oakland. And here's David Ortiz leading it off for the Red Sox against Barry Zito. And the big curveball drops in there for a called strike. Ortiz was called out on strikes his first time. Asked a big little about Ortiz playing on an everyday basis, because last year he did not hit all that well against left-handed pitching while he was with the Twins, and they platooned him. But Little said, if you go back 2 years, you'll find out that he hit lefties real well. He hit 400
when he was playing regularly. You're right. People don't realize how difficult it is to hit, say, left-handed pitching if you're a platoon and you play against right-handers, and then you might get one at bat against a left-hander over a 2-week period. That's tough to do.
Ortiz from the Dominican Republic, only 27 years old, big and strong, originally signed by the Seattle Mariners. 2-2 the count. And another curveball puts him away. Zito has struck out Ortiz twice. Now let's go to Dave Ryan. Dave?
All right, John, thanks a lot. Special guest here, Brad Gilbert, the coach of Andy Roddick, U.S. Open champion. The other A-Rod, not Alex Rodriguez, but Andy Roddick. How about your connection with baseball? You said you played a little bit growing up in Texas and Nebraska. Now you're here to throw out the first pitch. Was that a thrill for you?
Yeah, it was cool. I just enjoy coming out and watching sports in general. Whenever I get a chance to go to a game live, I always pretty much take that opportunity.
About a month now since you beat Juan Carlos Ferrero, the U.S. Open in straight sets. How has your life changed since then, winning your first ever Grand Slam title?
It's been a little bit of madness since then. But I'm just trying to take it in stride, and I'm anxious to get back out on the court.
All right, so Brad Gilbert, you're a pretty big A's fan. We understand you have season tickets. Always a big baseball fan?
I've been an Oakland fan my whole life. I was here in the series 72, 73, 74. I'm a huge Raider fan. I'm an Oakland native, like your boy up in this booth there, Joe Morgan.
He wants to know where your Metallica hat is.
Hey, this is A's day, man. This is business today.
Hey, hey, Dave.
That Joe Morgan's a pretty good tennis player, we understand, right?
He's got a pretty good forehand. Backhand needs a little work, but he's got some game. He likes to come to the net on everything. He bull rushes the net on everything.
Now, see, he's giving everybody a scouting report on me, man.
You play tennis?
Yeah, I used to play. Actually, being honest with you, John, not being modest, but I was a pretty good tennis player at one point before I retired. I used to play in a lot of USTA tournaments around California, and Brad did. I used to help me out every once in a while.
And a curveball, and Kevin Millar is called out on strikes. Zito's got the hook working right now in the fourth inning.
The earlier part of the game, his curveball was kind of rolling, but now you see it snap. Look at that. I mean, that's the 12-6 job right there. And it starts up so high in the strike zone that you give up on it, and the bottom falls out.
2 down. Here's Bill Miller.
That's what we used to refer to as a yellowhammer. The snake. You know?
The big, big curveball?
Yellowhammer. Yeah, the big yellowhammer.
Yellowhammer.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
I know. Well, when you were playing for Bob Bird Insurance, they didn't have a yellowhammer. But if you got to the big leagues, they had a yellowhammer.
We had a couple of guys
with yellowhammers.
Yeah, Mike Brazil, he had a good one. Oh, okay. Man. You never would have had a hit against Mike Brazil, let me tell you. 2-0 the count to Barry Zito. Any other tennis buddies or anything you want us to interview during the game? Or
I just wanted to alert Brad that, you know, at the end of the World Series this year, I'm going into training. So I can get back to my, you know, tennis tournaments.
Whoa, Nelly.
Why do you think I'm going on this diet? So I can get myself in shape to perform this winter.
2-1 the count to Bill Miller, and that is a foul down the left field line. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, we were in Atlanta last night. That was an exciting game.
Yes.
A dramatic game. John Smoltz, the great pro, and he talked about after the game, he didn't really have his good stuff.
I could see that.
But he ended up getting the win, and you mentioned it on the air. You saw it right away. But he said, you know, sometimes in these games, it's not stuff so much as it's attitude.
Right.
2-2 the count.
To use a tennis analogy, I remember Boris Becker said, you know, when you get to the 5th set of a Wimbledon tournament, it's no longer about tennis. It's about the attitude and what you're going to do there. It's not about tennis anymore. It's not about technicalities and being technical with your serve and so forth. He says it's about the attitude.
Well, so from now on, you can start quoting John Smoltz.
Yeah,
exactly. When you want to talk about that. 2-2 the count. Curveball, strike 3 call. Wow. He must have thrown 10 yellowhammers at the Red Sox there in the 4th inning. Eric Burns coming up. 5-1 Oakland. Ball 1 from Tim Wakefield to Eric Burns. Burns, the 9th place hitter for the Athletics. He'll be followed by the leadoff man, Mark Ellis, and then Erubiel Durazo. 5-1. Oakland out in front, and the knuckler is in there for a called strike. A ball and a strike now to Burns, who hit a 2-run double over the head of Manny Ramirez right after the sun came out in that 5-run 2nd inning round. The sun has hardly been out today. It's been overcast all day long, but for a brief time, just before Burns hit that fly ball, it came out. And this time, by the way, Manny's playing deeper in left than he was then. Garcia Parra, tough play, and Burns had too much speed on that one. It's an infield hit.
Well, let's take a look at what has helped to give the A's this 5-0 lead. 5-1 lead. A little erratic, as you can see, with his knuckleball all over the place. He wasn't able to control it, and then he needed a play to be made, and Walker did not make it, and that led to 2 runs right there. And so instead of being down 3-1, you know, you're down 5-1 at this point.
Well, we only had 2 hits in that inning. 2 walks, a hit batsman, a pass ball, and then that big error. Here's the leadoff man, Ellis. And back to the bag is Burns.
I'm a little shocked, John. I was watching that last play. It seemed that Bill Miller was going to cut it off, and then he let it go to Garcia Parra, who was deeper. And with Burns running, you're not going to be able to throw him out from that distance.
Usually the third baseman
has to cut it off.
Cuts any ball off he can get to.
Yeah.
1 strike the count to Ellis.
Well, let's take a look and see here and see if he backs off or why. Yeah, he just backs off, and maybe Garcia Parra called him off, but you have to try to cut it off if you can, because it just puts too much pressure on the throw from Garcia Parra.
That hits Ellis. And this is starting to have that 2nd inning feel, the nightmarish 2nd inning.
Well, we say again, watch, he doesn't move. Now he starts to move because you have to wait and make sure the ball doesn't move back out over the plate. And then he just turns his shoulder and takes it on the shoulder.
So 2 men on, nobody out, and the power hitters are coming up, and the Boston bullpen gets busy again. There's Grady Little. And you start wondering how much longer can Grady go with Wakefield, who is so erratic today. And Knuckler is so reliably unreliable in this one so far. That one knocked down by Mirabelli. The runners hold. 1 ball and no strikes. Durasso, who had the big night last night, driving in 3. And he has a hit and a ground out in this ball game, and a chance to drive in some runs right here. Burns, who runs well, is at second. Number 22. Ellis, the runner, at first. And a pop foul that will go back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last night they had better than 50,000 here at the Coliseum. Huge crowd and a lively crowd, but not nearly the same crowd here today. A very good crowd.
Yeah, very good crowd, but like you said, not a full house.
They had fans up in Mount Davis out there in center field last night. That knuckler hangs high and away for a ball, 2-1. Tomorrow night, Joe and I will be at Wrigley Field, Chicago. We'll pick up that Braves-Cubs ball game. And you see Wakefield now with 3 walks and 2 hit batsmen. And 3 of the 5 runs have come from runners who reached either being hit by a pitch or walking. That's a strike. 2-2 now to Durasso. Another power hitter, Chavez on deck. And Tejada behind in. This series will move to Boston, and Game 3 will be played Saturday night at Fenway Park. Durasso tantalized by that high knuckleball, but he could not make contact, and that is out number 1. More baseball action tomorrow. The Giants and the Marlins. That series tied at a game apiece. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 Pacific on ESPN2. Kurt Reeder and Mark Redmond. And then tomorrow night, Joe and I will have the Braves and the Cubs. That will be Greg Maddux against Mark Pryor from Wrigley Field, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific on ESPN. And those 2 teams are tied at a game apiece. Boston is trying to tie this series, but right now the Athletics, leading 1-0 have a 5-1 lead. Now that pitch must have looked like an optical illusion to Eric Chavez. I mean, it came floating up there like when he was a kid, just hanging right there, and then as he swung at it, it disappeared. That one stayed up there, and he was out in front of it, pulling it down toward the bullpen where Bronson Arroyo, a right-hander, is warming up.
And I think that has been Wakefield's problem today, John. We showed earlier in the ballgame he'd throw a great knuckleball, and then the next one just stayed there. And that was a very similar pitch there. That ball did not have a lot of movement on it, and it looks like batting practice. You're only throwing batting practice speed if you do that. Oh, fastball.
And you saw, look how Mirabelli caught that ball. He wasn't really in a crouch for it.
Well, they were trying to throw the high fastball, get him to chase it. They didn't want him to hit the fastball. I know that.
A ball and 2 strikes. 2 on. And that knuckler, I don't know if that was a knuckler, Joe. Was that a knuckler?
I think it was. It was just a harder one.
So he threw that one harder than he's thrown most of it.
When I used to watch, there you see it's still a knuckleball. He just threw it harder. When I used to watch Joe Niekro and Phil Niekro pitch, they throw you knuckleball. And then when they got 2 strikes, they throw you real hard. It would do a little bit more.
Into right field. Kapler right there. Burns went halfway, and now he returns to second base as Kapler gets it back in. So Chavez still looking for his first hit of this series. He is now 0 for 9. And yet, although he's one of Oakland's top hitters, most important hitters, and he is not hit, here's Oakland with a lead in the series and leading here in game 2, 5-1. So they've been able to overcome it. Here's Miguel Tejada. Chavez, of course, made that play last night in the field. How many hits was that worth?
Yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't make that play, they'd likely lose that game. Tejada has hit into a forced play and lined out to second. And that's the ground ball to Garcia-Parra. Flips it over to Walker, forcing Mark Ellis, and the inning is over. So they got 2 men on and then nothing. Still 5-1 Oakland as we head to the 5th.
This fall, Bristol-Myers Squibb, the cancer community, and I will come together for a very special campaign called the Tour of Hope. We want to raise awareness of clinical trials and let people know that cancer research is worth the ride. I've had this relationship with Bristol Myers Squibb for years now, because if it wasn't for BMS drugs, I just would not be sitting here today. Together, we can speed the search for a cure.
Follow the Bristol Myers Squibb Tour of Hope team and Lance Armstrong in this historic ride. Find out more by visiting our website.
He's getting ready. He's pumped. Now you gotta see your Bridgestone retailer during the Bridgestone Nationwide Tire Drive. Buy 4 advanced technology Bridgestone Dueler tires for your SUV or light truck and get a free Casio color TV. He's ready. Now it's your turn to get moving. The Bridgestone Nationwide Tire Drive ends October 4th. Call 1-877-TIRE-USA today.
Airport?
Yes.
Well, my name is Jim.
I just love the smell of your limo, Jim.
Oh, yeah? Well, it's a new car.
I love that new car smell.
Yeah, I wish it was mine.
Oh, so good, Jim. It's leather. Right,
Here we are.
I'm going to put the polo match too, okay? Yeah. I know. Well, Mommy's going to meet me at the airport.
The Home Depot is more than a store. It's a new dance floor. A nap with your best friend. It's everything under the sun for everything under your feet. All at the guaranteed low price. And now through November 5th, save 20% on select special order flooring, including wood, laminate, ceramic tile, and vinyl. Whether you do it yourself or have it installed, nobody covers more floors more stylishly than we do. The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Back here in the studio with Harold Reynolds, I'm Carl Ravitch. The Red Sox hit, but not enough last night. They're not hitting at all today. How come?
Well, I think Barry Zito goes through the lineup, picks out who he wants to get out, and obviously it's been the left-handers. When you have Walker hitting behind Nomar and Ortiz hitting behind Manny, those are the guys who's going to get out. We saw Nomar walk on a 3-1 changeup.
All right, back to the game, John.
Okay, thanks. And here is Gabe Kapler taking a called strike from Barry Zito.
And I think that's a smart point. I mean, when you go through the lineup, you pick out the guys you're going to pitch to and pitch around. Because I thought he pitched around Ramirez in the very first inning. I mean, the first time he faced him in the second inning, he did not go after him. And I think that's the point. I mean, you pick your spots of when you have to challenge these guys, when you have to go after them. And the left-handers in this ball game so far, they don't have a chance. I mean, when he's got that great curveball going, it's just, you know, very difficult. I thought the Red Sox had a chance. I really did. And then I watched the last inning when he gained control of that great curveball, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them to score 5 runs with him throwing like he is now.
And a changeup for the strikeout.
See, he's on. Well, it's the other part of this. It becomes confidence, as we see from last inning. He was hanging a curveball, rolling it the first couple of innings. Look at this. I mean, these are real yellowhammer, John. I mean, you don't have a chance. Look at that. And then the last pitch, I mean, he's gaining confidence. You know, now this is a changeup. I mean, he's gaining confidence in all of his pitches. And when he can throw all of his pitches for strikes, I mean, he is Barry Zito, the Cy Young Award winner.
Now, Mirabelli, who doubled and scored a run back in the third, and a changeup for a called strike.
But see, that toe shows you he's getting a little cocky there, starting him off with a changeup. I mean, he just has a feel now. I mean, it's like a hitter. All of a sudden, you stand in the batter's box, everything's working for you.
Back with the curve, and that could have been called a strike. Didn't miss by much. 1 ball, 1 strike.
No, he's just, like I say, he's just gaining confidence in all of his pitches, you know.
And off the outside again. They're asking for Wally Bell to make a ruling as to whether he swung at it. He said, no. Are you kidding?
Well, Mirabelli hit the high fastball for the double down the left field line last time, so he's thrown him a couple of changeups. But he had to give him the fastball 2-1, so he makes a good pitch with it.
He hadn't thrown too many of those the last couple of innings.
No, he's hitting his spots, and that's the important thing.
Johnny Damon on deck. And the curveball puts him away, and that is the 5th consecutive strikeout for Zito.
Well, we saw Mike Hampton set a National League record last night with 6 straight strikeouts. Barry Zito has 5 straight.
In fact, Hampton set a record for any division series in either league. Yeah. So Zito has come within one. In fact, I saw a note on SportsCenter last night after I finished watching the Oakland game. It was about 4 o'clock this morning in Atlanta. And the count is 1-1. So I might not be quoting it entirely the way they gave it, but they said that he actually equaled the all-time postseason record for division series, championship series, or even the World Series with 6 consecutive strikeouts last night. So Zito got a chance to tie a pretty impressive record. One ball, 2 strikes to Damon. Ordinarily, Damon a tough guy to strike out. And a fastball, and that's a base hit. So Damon gets his 2nd consecutive hit.
Interesting, he chose to go inside with a fastball, and you see he's mad at himself. I think he wanted to miss off the plate inside, but he gets a lot of play. That's pretty good hitting. I mean, that ball is not out over the plate. That's on the inside corner, and he just pulls it in the hole. But I think he was setting him up for that big yellow hammer, and he didn't get to it.
Nomar Garciaparra.
Well, with one swing, Boston can get back in this ball game.
And he's back to the big hook, and it is 0-1. Nomar has popped to short and walked. And he is one of the guys the Red Sox look to get the big hits. Ball is carrying well today. That curveball in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5-1. Oakland leading Boston. Well, we've seen Atlanta and that great offense, and they've been held in check pretty well by the Cubs pitching, especially by the Cubs starting pitching. And here the mighty Red Sox offense, and they've run into some pretty good pitching too from Tim Hudson last night and now Zito today. And Oakland's planning to go with 3 starters in this series. Jammed him on the fist with a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. By the way, last night our colleague Jeff Bradley was pointing out on the ESPN telecast that Zito was having some problems, and he was speculating what kind of problems he was having.
I mean Hudson.
Hudson. Yeah. Zito's going today. Hudson last night. And apparently something with his fingers is giving him some trouble. And that's a base hit for Garciaparra. So they get consecutive hits. Damon to second. And now Walker comes up with a chance to get some big RBIs that the Red Sox need.
I talked to Rick Peterson today about what was wrong with Hudson last night, John. And he said that what was happening is he was having trouble with his thumb. It was getting stiff, and he couldn't relax it. He said I just need some time in between pitches. But that's basically what it was. It started in his forearm, but it worked its way down to his thumb. It was more of a stiffness, not soreness or anything.
And Ken Maka said that there should be no trouble in him going in Game 4 if they get to a Game 4. Well, 3 days of rest.
Well, he's working on his fingernails and his manicure over there.
Now, I'm sure there's a baseball reason for that.
Yeah.
Down and in for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, you're going to start throwing a knuckleball. And you need your nails to dig into the knuckleball, into the ball.
Now, you know that because of Joe Niekro.
Yeah, exactly. No, Niekro used to keep his nails filed all the time.
Fell out of his back pocket in an inopportune moment one day when they went out to check him for a foreign substance. Now Hernandez is going to go out and talk to Zito. I mean, you got the Red Sox, even with 2 down here, have the makings of something that could help them get back into this game. And you got Walker, who had the big night last night. 2 homers, 4 hits all told. And Zito with a 1 ball, 1 strike count to him here, and 2 men on.
And you also have a overdue Manny Ramirez following him. So if he can some kind of way get on base, he can, bring Manny up.
Manny gets up, he would be the possible tying run. And that fastball is off the outside. Didn't miss by much, but he missed with it. And it is 2-1. It all started with 2 down, nobody on. He tried to get a fastball by Damon, and he hit the single. Then Nomar muscled a single to center. curveball, little tap. Zito, barehanded pickup. He got it. So Ramirez left on deck. 5-1. Oakland still ahead. Back at the Oakland Coliseum, 5-1. The Athletics leading back of Barry Zito. And ball one from Tim Wakefield to Scott Hatterberg. The sun is shining again as we get the look from the blimp from high above.
Well, this is sunny California.
A ball and a strike. You're thinking of L.A.
No, I'm thinking of Northern California. That's the place. Can't see it in L.A. for the smog.
That's a Dodger thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The count now to Scott Hatterberg. This is the 3rd time that he's led off an inning. Hatterberg is grounded out, flied out to shallow right center. He'll be followed by Guillen and then Hernandez. 5-1. Oakland with 5 runs on 4 hits. Boston 1 run on 4 hits.
Well, the one thing that Wakefield has been able to do, he's able to just, hold it right there. I mean, they scored all their runs in the 2nd inning. He's been able to dodge some bullets, but he's basically kept his team right where they were.
And he strikes out Hatterberg, and there is 1 away. Now, Saturday, don't miss this big showdown between the top 2 running backs in the Big Ten. Chris Perry leads number 11 Michigan against Fred Russell and number 19 Iowa in the BCS Spotlight game presented by ADT. There also will be regional action including Kansas State and Texas. Clemson versus the Terrapins of the University of Maryland, USC and Arizona State. That's Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Your close personal friend, good buddy, Keith Jackson, doing one of those games. There's ball 1 too low to Jose Guillen. He'll be doing the USC Arizona State game. Guillen has walked twice. His walk with 1 out in the 2nd inning started the 5-run rally. He advanced on a pass ball, scored on a base hit by Hernandez. And then there was a hit batsman. The sun suddenly came out. A high fly ball to left field, went over the head of Ramirez for a double. Another walk, then an error. It was not a pretty inning, especially in the postseason. Those innings aren't supposed to happen in these big games. 2-2 the count. Red Sox, as you see, there's still some scattered clouds overhead, but the sun is shining brightly right now. That one sailed right over the head of Guillen. 3-2. Peter Pasquarelli was reminding of a story that Jim Leland used to talk about when Wakefield first came along. He played for Leland in Pittsburgh. Backpedaling is Walker, and he makes the catch for out number 2. But he said, hey, when the knuckleballer Wakefield would go into a slump, we don't have anybody who can help him. Right? I mean,
right.
We don't have any other knuckleballers who can go in and say, here's what you need to do. Here's the storyline. 5-run 2nd inning for Oakland. Burns highlighted it with a 2-run double to left. Barry Zito, 6 strikeouts. 5 of them came in succession in the 4th and 5th innings. Johnny Damon drove in the only Red Sox run with a double back in the 3rd. And there's a called strike to Ramon Hernandez. He drove in the winning run last night with a stunning bunt. Only the 3rd time in postseason history that a game ended on a bunt. A foul back behind the plate. Mirabelli shading the eyes. Never did toss the mask away. Reached up and one-handed it. Very casual on that one. And the inning is over. For the 1st inning of this game, the A's do not get a man on base. Manny Ramirez coming up as the leadoff man. 5-1 Oakland.
ESPN2's presentation of the 2003 MLB Division Series. Brought to you by Little Debbie. Little Debbie single-serve snack cakes are perfect when you're on the go. Unwrap a smile today.
The view from high above here in Oakland, near the island of Alameda on the eastern side of San Francisco Bay, and Manny Ramirez takes a called strike. The Boston Red Sox, a .289 team batting average. They average nearly 6 runs per game. They hit 238 home runs. But where is the offense? Only 1 run today against Zito. And Manny Manny Ramirez, who has walked, and then he flied out deep to left center in the third, which was turned into a nice catch by Guillen. By the way, Guillen's no longer in the game. Terrence Long is taken over in left field, and that's a base hit. Long over to pick it up. That ball really hit hard. Chavez made a dive for it, but it was already by him. Hit number 5 for Boston. Meanwhile, here is our colleague, Dave Ryan.
All right, John, thanks so much. Pretty good follow-up season to his American League Cy Young Award-winning year for Barry Zito. He won 23 games last year, 14 this year, but his ERA is top 10 in the American League, and what the opposing hitters are hitting also very good, 218 for the American League. But still, it's style. That's exactly what Barry Zito has changed a little bit over his last 4 starts. He and his manager, Ken Maka, agree he's been much more aggressive. Not quite as fine, not overthrowing. He's happy with his style, and as Joe said, much more aggressive in his last few starts and today against Boston.
All right, Dave, and he has really had David Ortiz in a quandary. Ortiz has seen that breaking ball, he's seen the changeup, and then every time he sees a fastball, he's late on it.
Yeah.
As he was in the first pitch here. And another fastball, and he fouls that one, but again off to the left.
Well, that shows that Hernandez and Zito understand, you know, what the hitter is thinking up there. When you throw him those 3 curveballs, he come back and says, well, I'm going to look for that curveball and pull it in the hole. Well, what do? They throw him 2 fastballs.
Another fastball. That one into left field. Long battling the sun for a moment, and he makes the catch.
So he never got a chance to sit on that curveball and try to do any damage with it. That's smart pitching, and that shows the pitcher and the catcher working very well together.
Zito has thrown 99 pitches in this game, and it's only the 6th inning. Of course, Oakland's bullpen has done a great job. Guys like Bradford, Rincon, although Rincon, they were booing him here last night. He gave up the home run to Todd Walker. They fell behind in the game after Hudson had left. Here is Kevin Millar, and a big curveball in there for a called strike. Millar 0 for 2. Here's Rincon. And according to Ken Maka, all of the relievers are available again, including Keith Folk, who pitched 3 innings through 52 pitches last night. Curveball in there. Strike 2 call. So Ortiz is up there and throwing him fastballs. Now Millar comes up there and he's seeing nothing but curveballs. Red Sox have 5 hits in the game. Fastball. Blew it by. On the outside, strike 3. 2 down. For over 15 years, the MetLife Blimps have been providing aerial television coverage of sporting and special events. And today, Snoopy 2 is bringing us these aerial shots. The Red Sox and the Athletics look to the skies as the MetLife Blimp visits a town near you. Here now, Bill Miller 0 for 2 in the game. Broken bat blue. Long coming in into shallow left center. And quickly the inning is ended. A leadoff single by Ramirez, but he never got past first base. 5-1, Oakland.
Can you take it? Can you feel it? Playoff baseball.
Ramon Hernandez drove in the winner last night. But so far for Nomar and the Red Sox, the offense just has not been there. The Oakland pitching has been a little bit too much for the Red Sox. Plus, the Red Sox have had their chances, and they have made errors. They've made some mistakes, or they've given away a little bit too much. And Oakland's defense has looked sensational. Tim Wakefield. That knuckler goes inside. The ultimate point being, of course, if Oakland maintains this lead, Boston will be down 2-0. And although the series will go back to Boston next, the A's would need only 1 more win to wrap it up. Of course, they've been there before.
Yeah, exactly.
And not been able to do it. Bullpen activity. Alan Embry, a left-hander, warming up in the Boston bullpen.
But I guarantee the A's learned a lot from those first-round losses, you know, to the Yankees, and especially the last one when they were up 2-0 to the Yankees.
Dye fouls one. He's been hit by a pitch and scored a run. It grounded out to short. It was the 100th pitch of the day for Wakefield. All of the scoring against Wakefield occurred in the 2nd inning. all of that scoring, all 5 runs scored, with only 2 hits. And then 200 runs. It might have been a 3-run rally, but a huge error allowed the final 2 runs of that rally to score. 2 hits, 2 walks, a hit batsman, a pass ball, then the error. All of that in the 2nd inning, plus 2 hits. Ooh. Strike 3.
Well, you have to give Wakefield credit. He has been able to hold the A's right there since the 2nd inning. And you mentioned Boston has had some chances to whittle away at the lead, but they have not taken advantage of it.
You know, the Red Sox have 5 hits total. The first 4 hitters in the order have 4 of those hits and 2 walks. So the first 4 guys have been on base 6 times. But the rest of the batting order has 1 hit in 13 at-bats, including 7 strikeouts. So the numbers 5 through 9 hitters have just been dominated by Barry Zito. And that's hard to do. The Red Sox usually have power up and down the lineup.
Well, that was one of those high knuckleballs that didn't do anything, and Burns hits it over the head of Ramirez in left field and drives in 2.
And that made it a 3-run rally. There's a fastball just a little bit too far inside. 1-2. Burns got that 2-run double. One of those 2 hits in the 2nd. Then he got an infield single in the 4th. And the knuckleball dazzles him. Strike 3. Strikeout number 6 for Wakefield.
Well, this is a 2-strike knuckleball. See, look, the bottom falls out of that one and moves away. Burns has an unusual swing anyway. But that knuckleball will make you swing a little funny every once in a while.
And there's ball 1 to Mark Ellis. He's the leadoff man. Folks talking it over in the dugout.
T. Long
in the game now. Came on for Guillen in the 6th inning as a defensive replacement. And in the last of the 6 right now. 2 down, bases empty. Ellis has struck out, walked, and been hit by a pitch. He's been on base twice. Since Ellis got hit by that pitch in the 4th inning, Wakefield has retired every hitter since.
A little fastball over the outside corner.
And I mean, fast is only in a relative sense. He did it again. 2-2. I think he's thrown more of those fastballs to Ellis than any other hitter. 2-2. And back to the knuckleball. And that one did some dancing. He strikes out the side, has 7 for the game. 7th inning, Kapler, Mirabelli, Damon due up. East versus West here in the division series. The Oakland Athletics leading the powerful Red Sox from the East 5-1 and leading in this series 1-0 as Gabe Kapler takes ball 1 from Barry Zito. The 102nd pitch of the day thrown by Zito, and the Oakland bullpen is busy right now. Kapler has flied deep to center and struck out. 1 of 7 Barry Zito strikeouts. We played 6 full innings here. The Athletics 5 runs, 4 hits. Boston 1 run, 5 hits, and 1 error. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan. Game 2 of the American League Division Series. And a huge game for the Red Sox, who are heading home to Fenway, hoping to be tied at a game apiece with 2 games coming up at Fenway Park, but they are trailing here 5-1, and Barry Zito has dazzled them most of the day. That is in there for a strike. A ball and a strike now. Mirabelli on deck. All of the scoring for the Athletics occurred in the 2nd inning. That one is laced down the left field line, but foul. Kapler hit it sharply, but a little bit out in front of it. Bradford, number 53, the right-hander. Halama, the left-hander, number 54, up in the Oakland bullpen now. Barry Zito on the hill. And the big curveball, another strikeout. 8 strikeouts for Zito. down. Of course, 25 years ago today, Fenway Park, and Mike Torres on the mound. Bucky Dent hit the home run that put the Yankees ahead of the Red Sox in the one-game playoff. A great pennant race that year. They call him now in Boston Bucky Bleeping Dent. Wasn't even using his own bat. Mickey Rivers was on deck, and he noticed that Dent's bat was cracked. He hollered at him and pointed that to him and offered his bat. So Mickey took care of Bucky there. Bucky took Mickey's bat and hit the 3-run homer with it. Life was never the same in Boston for Mike Torres either. Here's Doug Mirabelli, who has doubled and scored a run, the only Boston run. He's also struck out, and he's put in an 0-2 hole right here. The numbers 5 through 9 hitters have just been dominated. Mirabelli's the only one of them. It's Ortiz, Millar, Miller, Kapler, and Mirabelli. Mirabelli's the only one of those 5 who has even reached base against Barry Zito. All of his strikeouts have come versus those last 5 hitters. And another curveball, another strikeout. Number 9 for Zito.
Well, he definitely has a good curveball today, and he didn't start the game with it. He kept throwing it and throwing it. He worked his way into a good rhythm with it, and now, I mean, he's just making the bottom fall out of it. And that's one good thing for young pitchers to remember. If you start off the game, you do not have a good curveball, don't abandon it. Just keep throwing it until you get the feel.
Fastball on the outside to Damon. And Damon has had 2 hits. He doubled home their run, the only run so far, back in the 3rd, and he singled in the 5th. Curveball. Ellis, easy play, and that's the inning. One of the easiest innings yet for Barry Zito. 10 pitches and out. Middle of the 7th inning. Durazo, Chavez, Tejada coming up. The Athletics are in front. The Oakland Athletics 5, the Boston Red Sox 1 as we move to the last half of the 7th inning. Alan Embry comes on to pitch now for Boston in relief of Tim Wakefield. Wakefield had the one horrible inning and then held the line from there. Rubio Durazo leads off on a fastball called a strike on the outside. Certainly quite a different look from Embry versus Tim Wakefield.
Well, I think Embry was the guy last night, though, that Durazo got the game-tying base hit off with 2 outs in the 9th and a base hit to left center.
Embry came in for Young Hyun Kim. Back at Embry, he got a piece of that one. Garcia Parra throws out Durazo, and there is one away. Now let's go to Dave Ryan. Dave?
Well, John, at the top of the broadcast, we talked about how Boston would respond emotionally to that heartbreaking loss last night here in Game 1. But how about the job the Oakland A's have done after the electrical atmosphere here at the Coliseum for Game 1? It was like the World Series atmosphere from the first pitch when Ramon Hernandez had the buzz single to win the game. And the celebration afterwards was incredible. But Ken Maka, the A's manager, told us before the game his team would be focused. He would be calm. Obviously, he was right. Obviously, he knows his team pretty well.
Well, indeed, the Athletics, of course, everything looks pretty well focused and calm when your pitcher is retiring everybody that he sees over and over again. I mean, in baseball, it all kind of starts right there.
Yes, it does. The guy in the middle of the diamond controls just about everything, all the emotion.
Into center. Damon flipped the sunglasses down. He's waiting for it, and he's got it. Chavez retired. Chavez is hitless in this series. He is 0 for 4 in this game. 2 down, and now Tejada coming up. Barry Zito, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits allowed, 113 pitches total, and Chad Bradford is warming up in the bullpen, so perhaps Zito is finished. Omar Garcia Parra, Todd Walker, and Manny Ramirez due up for the Red Sox in the 8th inning. Tejada 0 for 3 in the game. Fastball for a strike. You know, it's funny. I mean, you look at the Red Sox and you say offensively, well, they look flat. Well, a good pitcher will make a team look a little flat.
Well, that's true. But I mean, if you look at the A's, I mean, they only have 4 base hits in this ball game also.
What's wrong with them? They look flat.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than the 5 runs,
except that 1 inning.
Other than the 4-run lead they had.
Yeah.
1 ball, 1 strike to Tejada. Tejada 0 for 3. The Red Sox have done a great job of shutting down the Oakland duo. Chavez is 0 for 10. Tejada is 1 for 9 in this series. And yet Oakland won the first game, and they're well ahead here in game 2. So their 2 biggest stars have not produced yet. But other people have been. Today, Eric Burns, Ramon Hernandez again. Ramon, he drove in the first run today after driving in the winner last night. Burns with that 2-run second inning double. Oakland has only 12 hits in the 2 games of the series. They've scored 10 runs. Nomar throws out Tejada. And a very quick inning there for Embry. Time running short on the Red Sox in this one. Big hitters coming up.
ESPN2's presentation of the 2003 MLB Division Series. Brought to you by Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Oakland 5, Boston 1. Barry Zito with the jacket on, heading back into the clubhouse. He's finished for the day. 7 very strong innings. 1 run, 5 hits allowed. And now Chad Bradford, the right-hander, is on in relief. Bradford, who came on during the 8th inning last night, got the final 2 outs of the 8th. And he's become a key man in that Oakland bullpen, which has been a very real source of strength to this ball club. They don't often lose leads late in games. And Bradford almost looks like he scrapes his fingers on the front slope of the mound when he throws those pitches. 1 ball, no strikes to Nomar Garciaparra. Bradford threw 12 pitches in last night's game. One right to the shortstop. Tejada sets himself, and Garciaparra is out. Nomar, who'd been aboard twice earlier with a walk and a single.
Well, normally you look upstairs to find the release point of the pitcher, but with Bradford you have to look down at the ground, and you get the view here. He misses the ground about 6 to 8 inches, and that's where you have to find the release point.
Chad Bradford, whom the A's acquired. He had been with the White Sox, and it was obviously a great pickup for the Athletics. They didn't have to give up much to get him. Although the young catcher, the catching prospect, didn't play a lot for the White Sox this past year. They think he's going to be a good one, Miguel Olivo. So maybe time will show that the White Sox made a good trade too. But Bradford's been a very effective setup man for Oakland. This is the 3rd year that he's done that very strong job. Last night the bullpen went 4 2/3 innings, with the lone exception of Ricardo Rincon, who gave up the 2-run homer to Todd Walker. The Athletics bullpen did the job. Of course, Keith Falk, the closer, went 3 of those innings and threw 52 pitches. And that's too high. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Walker. Walker, by the way, after a 4-hit game last night, 0 for 3 in this game. He did not get the ball out of the infield against Zito. 3 ground outs. Sun breaking through the overcast once again here in Oakland. 1-2 the count. And down the left field line, twisting foul back into the crowd. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 36,305 here today after better than 50,000 last night. Yesterday here in the Bay Area, for the Giants and Oakland games, on a weekday, they sold more than 94,000 tickets for playoff baseball. Giants in the afternoon, 43,700, something more than 50,000 here. 50,600 plus. That's out of play. Still 1-2 to Walker.
When we talked to Grady Little, before the ball game, just so it won't seem like tomorrow, Saturday, when he takes Walker out of the lineup, it was because of today. He said Damian Jackson was going to play on Saturday, and that, it wouldn't have mattered how well Walker played today. Jackson was going to get a start on Saturday
against the left-hander Ted Lilly, who will go in game 3 for Oakland. against the right-handed Derek Lowe. Fastball just missing inside. 2-2 the count. As Dave Ryan pointed out earlier, despite throwing 42 pitches in last night's ball game, Derek Lowe, who actually got the loss last night, will be all set to start the ball game Saturday at Fenway, where he has been great this year. Lowe seems to have a high comfort level pitching at Fenway Park. And that will be an out. Hatterberg takes care of it. 2 men gone. Walker 0 for 4. In game 3 at Fenway. It looks like Saturday night, that ball game. Ted Lilly for the Athletics, and his 12-10 record is a little bit deceiving because he was so hot down the stretch. And Derek Lowe 17-7 with the Red Sox, and he was outstanding at Fenway all year. The question is, will the Red Sox be playing to stay alive in that ball game, or will they be playing to go ahead? 1 strike to count to Manny Ramirez. Manny has walked, flied out deep to left center, and singled. Red Sox have not had a base runner since Ramirez led off the 6th inning with a single. 8 in a row have gone down. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yankees and Minnesota. The Yankees in a similar spot to Boston tonight. I mean, in the East, a lot of thought about how exciting it would be to see the Red Sox up against the Yankees next week in the League Championship Series.
Well, I'm sure the Oakland A's and the Minnesota Twins fans aren't pulling for that.
A's fans think it'd be real exciting to see the A's play the Yankees or
anybody.
Whoever. Yeah. 1-2 down to Ramirez. And this mighty Red Sox batting order just being shut down. Ramirez with a check swing. And he just had that ball skim off his back foul. 1 and 2.
Although if you're an A's fan, you're probably pulling for Minnesota because the Yankees have beaten you twice, you know, in the first round. Minnesota's only beaten you once.
Well, as they kept saying last year, the A's were better off playing Minnesota the first round, and then they lost to the Twins. Twins don't get any respect.
No, you're right.
I saw where Jock Jones was pointing out. He was reading the papers in New York yesterday at their hotel there. He says, you know, everything was about how the Yankees lost. Almost like we weren't even involved in the game. He says it had been just the opposite. If we'd been the team that made some mistakes and whatnot. He says he was sure that they'd write about how the Yankees won.
Well, there's no doubt Minnesota played well. They were aggressive from the first inning on, and they were able to come out on top. Tonight's game is obviously the big game for the Yankees.
Down and in a check swing by Ramirez. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Andy Pettitte tonight for the Yankees. And Brad Radke. And Radke was just sensational in the stretch. A big reason as to how the Twins were able to overcome the White Sox and win the Central Division. And Radke won the clinch in Game 5 against Oakland right here in this ballpark last year. 2-2 the count to Ramirez. 2 down, nobody on. Strike 3 call. And so it goes for Ramirez and the Red Sox here in Oakland. 5-1 Athletics. Here come the Athletics now. Last of the 8th inning. Scott Hatterberg leads off against the new Boston pitcher, the hard-throwing right-hander Scott Williamson. Hatterberg, the former Red Sox player, hits a foul off the left field line, back out of play. Williamson, the former Cincinnati Red, and here are his overall numbers, although he did not really pitch well with Boston.
Well, when he came over, he was just one of the guys in the bullpen. He never did really get a chance to assume the closer's role that he had in Cincinnati a couple of years ago.
This guy throws real hard. His ERA for the Red Sox was 6.2. 20 in the 3rd innings pitched. 20 hits allowed. and inside, ball 2. Wakefield, the starter, went 6 innings, gave up 5 runs, 3 earned. Embry pitched a 3-up, 3-down 7th inning. And now here is Williamson. Hatterberg will be followed by another lefty, Terrence Long, and then Ramon Hernandez. And a foul out of play off to the left. 2-2 the count. Oakland did all of its scoring in the 2nd inning. Everything just came apart all at once. Oakland only had 2 hits in the rally, but they didn't need much more than that because of all the gifts. 2 walks, a hit batsman, a pass ball, and then a big error by Todd Walker. 2-2 to Hatterberg, and that is low. 3-2. Of course, now Oakland 2 years ago won the first 2 games of a division series against the Yankees in New York, and then came home and had Barry Zito set to go. And Barry Zito pitched a magnificent game and lost. That was the game where Jeter made the remarkable play.
And Posada hit the home run.
That's into left center for a base hit for Hatterberg, his first of the game. Of course, the Yankees came on and won that game and won that series anyway. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Major League Baseball is giving away World Series tickets for life and other great prizes. The winning hologram numbers will be announced during games 1 through 4 of the World Series. Visit your neighborhood Radio Shack store for your chance to win World Series tickets for life. Here's Terrence Long. Right up the middle and past the guy in Garcia-Parra. Stopping at second is Hatterberg. So consecutive base hits to start the inning against Williamson. And now Ramon Hernandez comes on. We mentioned they had 2 hits in that 5-run second. Ramon got the first of them to drive in the first run of the game after he drove in the final run of last night's victory.
Well, the Red Sox are looking for a bunt here. I mean, not, you know, a bunt for a base hit. They're looking for a sacrifice.
Well, we certainly know that he's a good bunter.
Yes, we do. I don't think they'll be bunting, though, but we'll see.
Jermaine Dye on deck.
Yep, he's squaring around.
And he takes 1 ball, no strikes. The A's had only 22 sacrifice bunts all year.
Well, maybe he wasn't supposed to bunt.
This was last night of the 12th. Bases loaded, 2 down. And what a game that was. 4 hours, 37 minutes, 12 innings. One of the longest postseason games of all time. With a lot of twists and turns. I think that probably he wasn't supposed to be bunting in that first pitch.
No, that's why Ron Washington came down and talked to him. At least I would think that he wasn't bunting. I didn't think he was going to bunt anyway.
Of course, and he didn't bunt.
Yeah, you have a.
But he certainly looked like he was intending to bunt.
Well, you have a 4-run lead. You might try to break it open right here.
He is 1 for 3 in the game with that RBI. Left center. Damon started in. Now he's got to go back in a hurry. Reaches out and makes the catch. The runners have to beat a hasty retreat. Hatterberg back to second, Long back to first. You know, the outfield has been surprised at how well the ball has carried all day long.
Well, it just seems to me that the Boston outfielders are all playing shallow. And, I mean, he gets a good jump on it finally after he realizes it's hit well. He has to backtrack.
And he started moving laterally and then had to angle back. So Hernandez is gone. So Hernandez flied out. The runners are still there. He should have bunted. Here's Jermaine Dye. He was hit by a pitch and scored a run in that second inning. Since then, it's grounded to short and struck out. That's a strike at the knees. To the inside. 0-1 the count. in Boston's 9th inning. David Ortiz, Kevin Millar, and Bill Miller will be coming up. At least those are the three due up. None of those three has had a hit. Nobody other than Mirabelli in the last part of the Boston batting order has reached base in this game. Off the fist foul. 0-2. And Keith Folk, who threw 52 pitches last night in 3 innings in the extra inning game, is warming up in the Oakland bullpen right now. And they told Ken Maka before the game that he was okay. Maka visited with him in the outfield when Folk was shagging during batting practice. He said, yeah, well, I'm ready. I'm okay.
I think you're in one of those situations maybe where Maka says, I'm just not going to take any chances.
I mean, well, the way the Red Sox can hit is something gets started. Sometimes it can be tough to turn it off.
Well, not only that, I mean, he's probably saying if it was 5-2, I'd bring him in.
Yeah.
So 5-1, I'll just give him that little extra cushion.
I mean, it's really just a rule book thing, right? The difference.
Right.
One way you qualify for a save, one way you don't. Softly hit to second. Walker charges it and makes the play with the runners advancing. Hatterberg to third, long over to second. Dye retired, 2 down. The Oakland Athletics getting all of their offense back in the 2nd inning. A 5-run rally, and they lead still 5-1 in the last of the 8th inning. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan with our colleague Dave Ryan, and we are at the Network Associates Coliseum. The Athletics in the postseason for the 4th consecutive year, but they have not won in the first round in any of the 3 seasons prior to this one. So they're trying to extend on, and they are threatening to go to Boston. They had 2-0 in this best of 5. Ball 1 to Burns. Now Hernandez's hit was a big one in the 1st inning or the 2nd inning because it drove in the 1st run. But Burns got the kind of the back-breaking hit, the big double that propelled the rally into a more of a big inning.
Well, he drove in 2, plus he put 2 more in the scoring position that scored on the error, by Walker.
Very big hit in this game. And Burns takes inside. Bay Area native. Although, he always liked the A's as a kid, but he grew up rooting for the Giants. Grew up on the other side of the bay, in the peninsula. Very likable. And there was a time this year where he would look like a star out there. Hit over 300. Was hitting for he hit for the cycle one day against the Giants in an interleague game.
Well, he actually struggled since, playing that game against the Giants.
Well, you mean because he's only hit 149 since then?
I mean,
define struggle.
He was hitting well over 300, and it was, he was on his way to just a great season. Then he just went into a horrible slump.
A horrible slump. Now, that's different than struggling.
Okay.
9 for 95 he went at one point.
Oh,
right after that cycle. In the next 28 games after the cycle, 9 hits in 95 at-bats. But since then, he finished up the year hitting 263 after that.
Right.
Although 263, to me, that's struggling.
Okay. Well, after he got off to such a great start, and to end up there it is, in a way.
2-2 the count to Burns. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Oakland already ahead 5-1. And Williamson trying to hold the line here. Boston will have 3 outs of life left to it in the 9th inning. Burns at the plate. Ellis on deck. You saw Durazo. He's in the hole. Bill Miller at 3rd. Playing very deep for Burns. With that opened up stance. Slider misses. So now it's a full count, 3-2. Oakland, of course, when you think of the A's, in those last 3 postseasons, it wasn't just Hudson and Zito. You also had Mulder. They had the big 3, an imposing trio of starters. Mulder on the disabled list now. So what are they going to do? They're going to go with just 3 starters. Hudson will be due back in game 4. Zito will be back in game 5, if there is a game 5, right here. No. A 3-2 slider, a beauty, strikes him out, and that is the inning. So for Boston, 3 outs away from going home, down 2 games to none. Ortiz, Millar, and Miller coming up. On to face, David Ortiz misses high with ball 1. Ortiz has struck out twice and flied out to left once. You see Folk get 43 saves in the regular season. And he's not your prototype closer, but there are very few who were more effective than Keith Folk this year. Fastball for a strike. 1-1 to Ortiz. Kevin Millar on deck, and then Bill Miller due up third in the inning.
Well, and I definitely can understand if folks said he was okay to pitch, that Ken Mocco would use him. I mean, you want to keep things the way that you've been, you know, successful. And you've been very successful using your bullpen and getting to Folk and letting him finish the game off. And like you said, it doesn't matter whether it's 5-1, 7-1, or 8-1. You want to finish it off. But as you mentioned, he threw a lot of pitches yesterday, but he apparently told him he's okay.
Well, he looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, he's throwing the fastball in under the hands of Ortiz, and Ortiz has not been able to catch up with him.
Ortiz has not had a hit in this series.
They went 0 for 6 yesterday, right?
0 for 5. That's what I had before.
Yeah.
He is 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts in the series. Got a piece of that one, fouling it off. Into the crowd. 2-2 the count. 10 Red Sox have struck out today, and 21 have struck out in the 2 games of this series. Folk last night, 3 innings, 3 hitless innings. He did walk 2. It was a superb performance. Of course, he got a little help from Eric Chavez in that one play. Two the count. A very protective looking cut there, and he pops it foul to stay alive. Sun shining brightly at Oakland. Game 3 of the series at Fenway on Saturday. And Boston has not had a hit since the 6th inning. They have not had a run since the 3rd inning. They have not had a win since the regular season ended. 2-2 to count. And Ortiz fouls it again. Well, after trailing 2 games to none in the best-of-5 series, it's a rather short list of teams that came back and won the series anyway. The Yankees did it, of course, against Oakland.
Well, it's been done 6 times. Boston says, why not 7? And make no mistake about it, I mean, you're going home to Boston. You're going to have your Boston fans there. And, you know, I don't think this series is over by any means. I mean, obviously you have to give a big edge to Oakland, but Boston in Boston can be very difficult to beat.
That one is hit in the air to left field. Terrence Long is back. Now, I think that's off the wall.
Exactly.
And even the one he hit back in the 6th inning might have scraped off the wall at Fenway.
Well, they're built for that ballpark. I mean, there are a lot of fly ball hitters, and they hit well in the ballpark there. That's why, being honest, I said if they could split here, going back, they would obviously have things in their favor.
I remember Fred Lynn, who at the time he left the Red Sox had a career average of .350 at Fenway and .270 everywhere else. And he said that sometimes he'd be down, they'd come back from a road trip, and he'd be slumping. He'd take batting practice, and they'd have a very poor swing at a batting practice pitch and hit a pop up to left field. He'd be berating himself, oh, come on, Freddie. And then he'd hear this little ting. You know, the ball hitting off the tin of the wall out there. And he said, I'm back at Fenway. And really, the wall is such a great asset to a left-handed hitter who can take a tough pitch and flick it out to left field, and that wall is so close. But Ortiz not getting the benefit of that here. Kevin Millar quickly behind the count, 0-2.
Well, most of the time he throws a lot of fastballs and changeups. That looked like a little cut fastball.
Ortiz 0 for 4. Millar 0 for 3 today with 2 strikeouts. Back to third. Nice grab. And Millar is 0 for 4. 2 down, nobody on tonight. And our thanks to the MetLife blimp, Snoopy 2, who's been with us today, bringing us views from high above the Coliseum. Since 1987, the MetLife blimps, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2, have flown over 1 million miles to provide aerial coverage of sporting events and television specials throughout the U.S. So now Bill Miller, the American League batting champion, but 0 for 3 in this game. Miller 1 for 8 in the series. And that fastball runs away. 1 ball, no strikes. Red Sox had 4 runs and 12 hits last night in the 12-inning game. But they had a lot more scoring opportunities last night than today. They couldn't get the big hit a few times last night. Today they've hardly had any chances. Only in the 3rd inning, when they had 2 men on with 1 man out, and Walker and Ramirez out. They didn't get anything there. And in the 5th inning, they had 2 men on with 2 men out and Walker out. And those have been the really only scoring opportunities other than the back-to-back doubles hit by Mirabelli and Damon in the 3rd.
Well, in the middle innings, Zito was very untouchable. I mean, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th innings, I mean, he was in complete control.
Jason Varitek on deck. Miller slaps one into left field for a base hit. Well, Miller keeps it alive.
That's why he's a batting champ. And Volk is trying to finish this off. Miller just takes it and slashes it to left field.
So now Varitek, the regular Boston catcher, to pinch hit for Gabe Kapler. The 2 down here in the 9th inning. The hit by Miller, the first Boston base runner since Ramirez led off the 6th inning with a single. Between those 2 hits, 11 consecutive Red Sox were retired. So here's Varitek. He hit a home run last night. And a changeup floats high and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Moving up in the play there was Bill Miller, uncontested. Red Sox taking the base that Oakland was giving them.
And most people say, well, why did he do that? Well, you stay out of a force out. I mean, you never give up trying to, extend the ball game if you're the Boston Red Sox. And if he moves up to second, they can't force out on a ground ball in the hole someplace. They'd have to go to first base.
A little edge that might give them an extra out. 1 ball, no strikes to Varitek. And a pop foul back out of play into the upper deck. Trot Nixon has come out on deck now. So if Varitek can keep it going, Trot Nixon apparently would come up. There's Trot, powerful left-handed hitter. Jason Varitek had an outstanding year. Oh, the changeup. A ball and a strike. A ball and 2 strikes now. Strike left to the Red Sox. And a high pop-up. Tejada. And Oakland has gone ahead 2-0 in this division series. 1 victory away from eliminating the Red Sox.
Well, against the Yankees, they're up 2-0 coming home. Now they're going to Boston. I mean, everything's in their favor, but I don't think you're going to see them celebrate too quickly. Boston is very difficult to beat in Boston.
And they have their 17-game winner, Derek Lowe, who will be ready to go on Saturday night against Ted Lilly. If they can win that one, who knows? Then you move on to Game 4, and the Heat can shift right back on the Athletics. But for right now, Oakland has taken 2 in a row for the Red Sox, and it really makes that come-from-behind victory hurt that much more for the Red Sox. A game that they led in the 9th inning. For Joe Morgan and Dave Ryan, I'm John Miller. Thanks for tuning in. Final score again, 5-1. The Athletics have beaten the Red Sox in Oakland. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. From Oakland, a pleasant good afternoon.